Hi pianists, we've released our Yo Hondo app for Clementi's A1 ABRSM Allegro piece, and so we're now going to give you some tips on how to play this piece and how to practice it. First thing to do is have a little look at the footnote. Clementi is a more interesting character than your average 17th century composer. I always used to wonder why he came from sunny Italy to foggy London, but London was the centre of music at the time and it was the place to be. Also, you can read in these footnotes how Clementi had a kind of a play-off with Mozart, which always interests me because it's like X Factor for serious composers in the 17th century. And he had his own piano making company as well. So a portfolio musician, an enterprising man. So with this piece, you're going to bring some Italian sparkle to maybe a miserable day in England. The first thing to do is to just have a little look at this piece, and you'll see that it's absolutely riddled with scales and arpeggios. And if you've ever wondered why to practice your scales, Clementi gives you the answer. You can see loads of them all over the place. So practice your scales and use them as warm-ups for this piece. So C major scale, which we all really enjoy playing. You can play it legato or maybe slightly detached as it appears in the piece. Maybe a bit of both, right hand staccato. If you're feeling very daring, you might want to do left hand crotchets, right hand quavers. Because that's how they will appear in the piece. They don't very often appear as C major 1 octave up and down legato. They appear in different ways. Just a little note, to give it a little bit of liveliness, detach your unmarked left hand crotchets. So and observe all the rests. So you might not want to go at lightning speed, but you can still make the piece seem really lively and light by detaching those and lightening those left hand crotchets. Now, when we get to the B section, there is a change of mood. So you've landed up like this, and then so change of mood, change of dynamics, but not a change of speed. Make sure you keep the speed the same all the way through. So in this Clementi piece, there are some interesting joins and some interesting jumps, especially in the left hand. So we can have a look at bar 8 going to bar 9, and we've got a G going to a D major Alberti bass. So I would practice my G going to a solid chord and just see if I can do that. First of all, I would do it looking at my hands, and I'm quite good at doing that, and then I would see if I can do that looking at the music so that it's just in my peripheral vision. And then just for fun, I would see if I can do it with my eyes shut. Yay, I can. So I now know that that's really quite secure. And all these little tricky bits, we've got special exercises built into our Yo Hondo app to help you master and secure those. Another point where the left hand has an interesting jump is at the end of section A. So we've got a D going to a G arpeggio, so same thing again. At the very end of the piece, we've got a C arpeggio, and it's approached via octave Gs. So I would do one of my favourite techniques, which is a little bit of backward practice. So practice the arpeggio and then practice the approach. So we've got finger 2 on the G and then and the arpeggio. Then I would do the octave, because jumping from finger 1 to finger 2 down an octave is quite a tricky thing to do. So worth practicing all those little joins. It'll make life secure for you. There are also some tricky passage work bits here where quavers just seem to go on and on and on forever. And again, we've got some Yo Hondo exercises in our app to do that. So we've got at the end of bar 6 in the right hand going on through 7 and 8, tons and tons of quavers, streams of them. But the first little bit is descending thirds. So practice them solidly. We've also got some other passage work bits as well. So I would play those slowly, make sure I got them legato, then I would maybe try them staccato. And then to secure them and to make my fingers strong and independent, I would dot them. Then reverse dot them. And you can do that in all those little quaver passages. There are a couple of bits where your left hand might be tempted to collapse. So at the end of bar 4 going into bar 5, it's just going straight down onto our weaker 4th and 5th fingers. So keep that bridge shape and consciously don't let the 4th and 5th fingers collapse. Same thing happens in bar at the end in the B section at the end of bar 23. At the end of bar 27. So don't let your 5th finger collapse, keep that upright and in that bridge shape. We've got some Alberti bass chords which you can practice solidly. Again, our app helps you with that. So Alberti bass, practice them solidly first and then add the right hand and then play it as it's written. So great way to practice them. There are some fingerings in here that are what we don't expect. We've kind of got our scale fingering in our head, but occasionally something pops up that is different to the scale fingering. So I have a red pencil, a red pen that I use for when I've got unexpected fingering. So in bar 13 and 14, there's a finger 3 on F sharp that I just wouldn't expect. So I've circled it and drawn a red line down the stem of that note. Then finger 4 where I wouldn't expect it. And then again there. And it happens again in the penultimate bar of the right hand as well. Couple of unexpected finger 4s. So take ownership of your music, mark things in with pencil, and occasionally you use the red pencil so that you really notice what's going on there. And fingering then becomes fun rather than frantic. Of course, when you've learnt the right hand and the left hand quite well, you'll be duetting it with your teacher. But when you're at home, you might want to try it with the metronome, or our Hondo play along plays it at different speeds and you can practice your part and really secure it. Also on the Hondo app, you've not only got this movement, but you've got the score for the other movements as well. And they're really, really lovely. The slow movement is lovely, and then there's a quicker, livelier final movement. So that would be a great thing to do after you've maybe done your grade 3, explore the different movements of that. But meanwhile, enjoy introducing a little bit of Italy, maybe into a dull, rainy English day. Okay, so now there's some extra stuff for teachers about this Clementi Allegro. This is bound to prove a really popular piece for grade 3 List A ABRSM exam. Not least because we've probably all played this piece and several others from the Opus 36 as well. And our pupils are really going to enjoy it as well because it's a catchy little piece. So well worth just looking at some teaching strategies. Of course, a good teacher always models to their pupils. I always play every piece to my pupils to start with. And one of the first things I will do is relate it to some of the oral tests that they're going to get. So I'll play through it and I will see if they can hear the change from the very lively, bright mood of section A to the slightly more sombre mood of section B. So we've ended up section A and then... So I'll see if they can hear that and then see if they can actually see that and then see where the A section material comes back again. So can they hear it? Can they see it? Linking the oral and the visual to what they're actually going to play. Another good way to do this and to check that they can track, which is an essential skill for all musicians, but especially for pianists, is to play little bits of the piece and stop at different random points and say, can you tell me where I am? So you might play that. Stop there. And then say, where am I? And they should be able to point to the exact note that you've landed up on or the bar and get reasonably close. And that way you can assess as well their sight reading abilities. And they're also learning a little bit more about the piece in a relatively painless way with you doing all the hard work. In that bar actually, just before that, bar 18, we've got some little two-note slurs, some little down-ups. So just check that your pupils have got a flexible wrist. They go down on the F, across to the D, and then make the gesture of the wrist coming up. So the wrist's going to lead that. And I call them down-ups with my pupils, so they can now spot them and they know that they're coming wherever, that they're going to be required to say down, up, as they actually play it. One way to introduce the whole piece is to start, I would start with section A and I would get my pupils to learn the left hand, because you can see straight away it's not the most demanding left hand. And so they feel quite comfortable doing that. And when they've learnt that, then I would add the right hand. So I'm duetting my right hand with their left hand. So they're practicing their left hand, but they're also hearing the right hand and how the two fit together. And all the way through learning and practicing this piece, you can do lots of duetting. When they can play the right hand, you duet the left hand, and then gradually you put it hands together. Of course, they're not going to be with you all the time. So on the Yohondo app, we've got lots of little exercises to help, but we've also got the play along at different speeds, so they can do different sections and play along and practice it, so that when they come back to you, it's that much more secure. This is a lovely, lovely little piece, and they probably will want to look at other related pieces. After my pupils have done exams, I will always say to them, which piece of your exam list did you enjoy the most? And I can guarantee that lots of them will be saying the Clementi piece. So I'll say, would you like to do more Clementi? So they can go on and look at movement 2, which is an andante, and then the quicker movement 3 of this lovely little sonatina. So enjoy teaching it, enjoy modelling it to your pupils, and enjoy hearing them start on their Clementi playing.